Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for yet another Jimmy Kimmel video. Hopefully this is one of the last Jimmy Kimmel videos we do. We're both getting kind of tired of talking about it, but we had his quasi non-apology last night during his monologue, and we'll unpack what he said, and your takeaway from it depends largely, I think, on your political leanings.
Yeah.
Which is,
or if you're just listening to what he said, because he's basically like, I had no way intended to say anything and to blame people and what I said, and it's like, but you flat out did. And so basically the apology boiled down to, I'm sorry you thought I said what I said.
Yeah, pretty much. And look, this is a complicated issue because it overlaps with a bunch of other issues, but it does show just how people filter situations like this through their own political lens, because on the left it's like, oh my God, fascist Trump is trying to censor Jimmy Kimmel, and it's all because of Trump and Brendan Carr.
Oh yeah, the FCC.
The FCC. Yes. And on the right, they're like, well, wait a damn minute. Actually, it was his advertisers and the local stations that got him effectively canceled.
Yeah, Disney didn't have to shut the show down. That's just it. They didn't have to do it.
They just didn't want to. They didn't want any entanglements, right?
Because they didn't want to get sued.
It wasn't the FCC. Yeah, it wasn't the FCC. It was actually 40% of their stations between Nexstar and Sinclair wouldn't run it. And they
said, those stations said that the FCC never contacted them.
They said, yeah. And now we've got calls from Elizabeth Warren to break up Sinclair.
Yes, which I want to break. Okay.
We don't think the government should get involved in broadcast matters.
Yes, government shouldn't be involved in this. It shouldn't be up to the government, which, I agree. But right now the government wants to break up the people who told them no. And it's like, wait a minute, you cannot fucking have it both ways. And that's what I'm so angry about. Like, it's not even what was said so much as it's the behavior around the situation that angers me, because it's such hypocrisy. It's such blatant hypocrisy. Now, I don't believe in censorship. I don't believe Jimmy Kimmel should have been canceled. I've said that since day one, because I don't believe Gina Carano should have been canceled. I don't. There's other people. I believe in equal treatment, and I don't believe either one is okay. I don't believe government overreach into censorship is okay.
No,
but it wasn't okay under Trump, or it's okay under Trump. Why the hell was it okay under Biden? That's what I'm saying.
And we're going to talk about that too, because as this whole Jimmy Kimmel thing is going down, and everybody's all of a sudden decided that they're free speech proponents, right? Even though during the pandemic, everybody was calling for censorship of the right. This thing snuck under the radar, and we talked about it before in a standalone video, but a lot of people were not aware that the government, the White House, put out a statement that YouTube was censoring individuals because they were under pressure from the Biden administration to do so. And to me, this is a more egregious abuse of power.
But they're not. But the media isn't saying shit, and neither are Kimmel and company, because basically what it is it's freedom of our speech.
Yes.
Not freedom of speech in general. And they keep going on, and then they're like, about Disney, and thank goodness Disney stood up against it. I'm like, because they're for free speech, except for ask Gina Carano how that goes.
Disney is so much for free speech that they had YouTube take away the dislike button because of the Kathleen Kennedy situation. They're so much for free speech that they helped kick off the apocalypse because people were making videos they didn't like and they didn't want their brand associated with it. Yeah.
Oh, they did it on Twitter too? We were going to pull advertising because a bunch of people scammed it to make it look like Musk was, doing something he wasn't doing. Now, he did say some stuff he shouldn't have said, but they were trying to show that their ads being run on things that were like,
next to actual Nazi.
Yes, and that wasn't the case. It was manipulation, and they didn't want their brand associated. And the thing is, technically, they have the right to pull their advertising because they didn't want their brand associated. Just like the companies have the right to do that, which means that, and that's what they argue. They always argue, well, Disney has a right to do that. When they took President Trump off of Twitter, that's okay. They have a right to do that. It's a private company. But if you're Nexstar or Sinclair, now here comes Elizabeth Warren and company saying that they can't do that.
Yes.
Which the fuck is it? Because if you didn't have double standard, none of you would have any standards at all.
And that's just it. And that's what's so tiresome. I think to me, it feels like middle America normies are stuck in the middle of this like civil Cold War between two very polarized factions.
But the one faction has the double standard so strong that it's ridiculous.
It's become very apparent, yeah.
And that's obvious to anybody in the middle, because everybody's like, well, you're a Trump thumper, you're a MAGA. Actually, well, first of all, anybody to the right of far left is considered MAGA now.
Right.
But two, it's like anybody who's watched the show knows that I do not have a strong love of Trump. Everybody knows that. Anybody who watches knows it. That being said, he was the lesser of two evils in the situation. I thought he was, if he was going to do something about the crisis of immigration, which he's been doing, and taking care of some things, that should have been taken care of. That being said, he says a lot of things I don't think he should say. I've made it clear about that too. But, this whole idea that if you don't agree with me, you're the opposite quote unquote side is stupid. You could just be in the middle being like, wait a minute, how come you could do this and you can't? How come you can do this and you can't? It's like the double standards. And let's be honest here. They are definitely leaning towards one direction. Yeah. It's unfair. It's complete bullshit.
The left has spent the last 10 years trying to censor any right-wing voices, even mild criticism of the vaccine mandates. I mean, we're not talking
Hunter Biden laptop.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to talk about that. They got the post kicked off of, I think it was post. They got the post kicked off of Twitter. They got sitting president removed from social media, and that was okay. That was actually applauded.
Because they were a private company, and Jimmy Kimmel's one of the ones that applauded it. That's a private company, and they're allowed to do that because it's they don't have to. Just because you're the president doesn't mean they have to give you a platform. But people saying that are the ones that are saying we have to go after Nexstar and St. Clair because they didn't run Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, I mean,
wait a minute.
What blows my mind about this whole thing is like this doofus is the line in the sand, right? Everybody's like rallying around Jimmy Kimmel, who is basically just he's just a kind of a Hollywood puppet, right? I mean, I'm sure he's an okay guy, whatever. I don't think he's like malicious. I think he's just kind of there.
I think he just said something stupid because he was angry, and he's just and these Hollywood types just believe that they are above reproach unless you want to ask Dave Chappelle about how it's un-American to cancel comedians. I'm just saying, but they all believe that they're above reproach and they can say whatever the hell they want and then they when there's consequences, it's like woe is them, poor them. But the thing is, the fact that people were more upset about Jimmy Kimmel not getting to be on the air than they were about someone being dead is very upsetting to me.
That is my takeaway, and that was kind of the eye-opening thing for me. And again, I want to reiterate, I am on the side of free speech. I think that freedom of speech has to be evenly enforced, and you do not have to like what the person says, but they're not breaking the law, and they're not inciting people to violence, then you know what? The only way America works as intended is to let people speak their minds.
They kept claiming that with the Twitter thing, it was because Trump was inciting violence. And it's like, okay. But Jimmy Kimmel said, well, I'm sorry you misunderstood what I said. I'm like, there wasn't misunderstanding what you said, dude. You basically said that he was, on the right and that they were trying to distance themselves from him, but he's one of them. You flat out said that. It was already provably untrue. Now, do I think that the whole show should have been shut down over that? No, but I think an apology needed to be issued. And then when he did have a chance to issue an apology, it boiled down to, I'm sorry you thought I said the things that I did say.
Well, here's
what it came down to.
Yeah, this account here on X has it. But anyway, before we get into it any further, we're into it pretty late. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Also go out to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com. Sign up for notifications. Sign up for, if you would like, for paywalled content. And this is kind of our life raft, I guess, if YouTube starts censoring people again. Okay, so there's the spiel. This is coming from an account on X, Will of the Fans. He's kind of bullet point, because again, people watched his monologue and people got the touchy-feely. They're like, oh, this is great. He did tear up, and look, I believe he is sincere in what he said, but I also think he was very careful not to.
Well, then he immediately stopped crying and then started doubling down,
going into another anti-Trump thing.
Yeah, with Robert De Niro and stuff. Like I'm the charge of the FCC, and he just doubled down on more of the same. Dude,
it's that's the thing. The problem is, if that is his audience and that's the audience he's cultivated, he can't just he's not gonna look. You're not gonna have this guy have a cathartic moment, wake up one day and be like, you know what? Let's just not talk about politics. Let's just have I
don't think he's capable.
I don't think so. I think that's what carries his show now.
I am surprised that he didn't get canceled from his audience, though, because he basically admitted he was Christian and he believed
that was
Jesus.
Surprising.
And I was like, wait, these people hate Christians. I'm like, dude, you just basically said you believe in Jesus and, and the teachings of Jesus. And I'm like, then, hey, I'll give him that one because that's ballsy. Because people were like, oh, he didn't mean it. I don't think so. I think he meant it. But beyond that, it was like that actually took balls because his audience that he cultivated, that's like oh, you're an alt-right Yahtzee, him saying that, which is ironic, but him saying that was something that is like, kryptonite to some of these people. And he said it anyway.
Yeah, that
I was like, oh, wow, I'll give him that one.
Because he's actually, people have pulled up before that he's been, hypercritical of Christians and whatever. But wouldn't the irony and all this, because he was talking about Erica Kirk's, forgiving the killer of her husband, and
which was amazing, and I couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it. I'm gonna be completely honest. I couldn't do it. But. Wouldn't it be wild if some of the biggest critics of the right actually became Christians because they saw that? Actually,
I've seen a lot of people comment how they're like, wow, that's not what I thought, And I also see a lot of people do videos. Now, I'm going to admit, I didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was before all this situation went down.
I was vaguely aware.
Stuff. We're not as political as people think we are. We only do it when it comes to pop culture and double standards. But people have been going through what he said because they're like, well, wait, they got killed because he's such a racist or he's such a this or he's such a that. So they're watching all his comments and his videos and they're like, but he didn't say that. And it's like, yeah, exactly. He didn't say that. But because the media and the narrative became he said it, that people, felt he needed to die for something they thought he said, not necessarily what he said. And with Kimmel, like, he's trying to tell people, he's trying to gaslight people and be like, oh, that's not what I said. I'm sorry you're upset. But that's not what I meant. But that's what you said. And basically your apology is, I'm sorry you're upset because of what you thought I said. But I actually said. It's like, dude. Yeah.
And we're not gonna play the clip here. I mean, they have the full
I'm sure
monologue.
everybody's seen it.
Yeah, on the New York Post, you can check it out. But here's again back to Will the Fans' account. He actually bullet points. It's a good encapsulation of what he said or didn't say. So he says lies, or they say lies. Jimmy Kimmel told on the show while apologizing for lying on a show that America is more authoritarian than Nazi Germany. That the Trump administration had him canceled. That's actually
they keep running with that. The media keeps running with that, and they keep saying FCC, and they're like, but even Nexstar and Sinclair, who are the reasons that the stuff got pulled down, they said the FCC never contacted them.
No, that he didn't intend to misrepresent the killer. No, he was trying to put the blame onto MAGA. That actually is true.
That was more of he was trying to just do his typical move.
Yeah, the Kirk's killer represents no one. That is I think what's irritating a lot of people, because they're like, why won't you own it that this person was a radicalized left winger? A lot of people, they dance around the issue. They're like, well, his family was right wing, so he's right wing by proxy, or oh, he wasn't actually the killer.
My parents were always Republican, and I leaned Democrat. Should I be a Republican automatically because my parents were? And when Trump
it's genetic. Elected, you're the Republican
Trump
race.
Trump got elected. Oh, we did not get along. Like it was no, we.
I remember that. I remember that.
But we disagreed to disagree.
Yeah,
as normal people do.
Yeah.
But we did. It was. We did not agree on a lot of that stuff.
It is wild because people think we're like these raging right wingers. I don't know why. Again, it's like you're clearly not listening to our videos. You're looking at the thumbnails and are talking, whatever we're talking about, and making that assumption. But
we're not left people either. We're not like alt left either.
I remember, when we first got married, like anytime the politics would come up, I'd be like, oh God, here it comes. We're gonna have to, try to diffuse the situation, but you can still love your family members, not agree with them 100%, on things. And it's, but now they're telling you, well, if your family voted for Trump, you need to, just disown them,
let's isolate you so we can control you easier.
Yeah. And that is cult. That is a cult.
That is a cult.
That is a cult. That this has anything to do with free speech. It's about lying to the public.
Which he's still doing, yes.
The Trump administration coerced ABC affiliates. FCC extorted the network instead of just adhering to the rules of broadcast. Again, Nexstar and Sinclair both came out and said they were not contacted by the FCC. They're straight up lying about the shooter. It was actually satire. Trump insulting his ratings and talent is Trump censoring free speech. Disney's under threat from Trump. Trump can get them all fired. No, I don't think so. Trump is bullying journalists to control information. I mean, he is very, unlike literally any other president I can think of. Trump is basically like, hey, I don't like you, and I'm going to tell you to your face I don't like you. I mean, he's very,
he's not playing.
He's not very, even during, just to go off on a side tangent here, even during Charlie Kirk's memorial, he used the opportunity to be like, I don't like my enemies very much. I don't like them very much.
I thought that was wrong. My parents, like big time Trump people, they love Trump. And my mom was even like, yeah, I didn't think that was right. I think that, there's a time and place and that wasn't it. But you can disagree. Like, again, you can disagree with Biden, you can disagree with Trump, you can disagree with sometimes, but still recognize when they do things that are correct also. But what makes me mad is, again, it's all about Trump canceling free speech. Trump's going to censor and everything else. No mention of the fact that Biden did it. His administration totally did it. And they did it. We knew they did already with Facebook and Twitter because it came out a long time ago. Yeah. Now Google's admitting it. There's other like Discord and what did you say with Steam or what was it? What else is going to be?
Steam. They're actually going to have a hearing on October 8th. It's going to be Twitch, Discord, Steam, and I feel like there's another one that's going to be in it, but they're going to be before the House, and they're going to have to testify about radicalized, as I understand, radicalized speech that's been allowed to run rampant on their platforms, which I think, again, being a free speech guy, I think this is a slippery slope because I think these boomers, I watched the Facebook hearing before where Mark Zuckerberg was kind of like, God, you guys are stupid. And he kept just like drinking water and giving him that, he's a millennial, but he was giving him the Gen Z stare. Like, you guys are just freaking stupid. And the TikTok one too, where they didn't seem to understand how any of the internet works at all. Like these are the people that their grandkids are going to have to fix their email for them.
Or they are now.
Because they don't understand any of it. I think the takeaway from that hearing is going to be internet bad, clamp down on the internet. Yeah. Because internet makes people shoot people. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, but here's the thing. If radicalist voices need to be censored, then why do people get censored under Biden too? And the media is not covering it. And that's what makes me mad is like Kimmel's up there and they're all like Hollywood, we need to save free speech. We need to, but you're saying we need to save our speech. Yeah. Well, that's what you're saying. Let's not mince words. That's what you're saying, because y'all didn't give a fucking shit when they were censoring people you didn't agree with, like Gina Carano, Roseanne Barr, which Roseanne Barr said crappy things.
She actually apologized.
She admitted that she said it and apologized. Jimmy Kimmel wouldn't even admit what he said. No. He apologized, but he wouldn't even admit it. Then immediately like, okay, let's go back to doing what we were doing before. And pretty then, much. They all were fine with people. They sat there and said nothing. When people were censored, when Trump was kicked off of Twitter, they all cheered. When like the different things they thought were like far right people were censored, they had no problem with that because that was the other side. That's the problem too. When you look at everybody as your side or the other side, and everything's black and white, there's a big problem because there's a lot of nuance, there's a lot of gray area, and there's a lot of people who don't line either way, or they might lean away, but they're in the middle, and you're just labeling them as the other side. So you're making either you're for me or you're against me. And that's a really dangerous attitude to take. Yeah. But you can't say censorship by the president and his administration is bad when you celebrated it under other presidents and you were refusing to acknowledge the fact that is exactly what happened. They're not addressing it. The media isn't addressing it. I would agree. Censorship under a presidential administration is wrong, but it's wrong on the left and it's wrong on the right. It's wrong. You don't get to say it's only wrong when this person does it. And that's what I'm getting so angry about. And the media is just perpetuating this false narrative bullshit. And I've had it.
Yeah, I think the media is stoking the fire because they were threatened by social media. So they were cool with their competitors being taken out. That's my tinfoil hat theory on this. And now that it's coming for them too.
But they're deliberately not covering it too, because then people will find out and they don't want people to know.
Yes. So that would be my challenge to all of you is make sure your friends and neighbors and family know. I mean, again, I think, Jimmy Kimmel being taken off the air was probably a very extreme reaction.
I think so too. I don't think he, deserved. They shouldn't have done that. No,
just apologize, walk it back, whatever, issue a statement, whatever. But the fact that all these people now want to pretend that they're free speech advocates when they spent a decade silencing anybody who had any, even slightly right-leaning opinions or tendencies, and
mass flagging them.
Oh yeah, mass flagging. They were doing
whatever they could to get their channel shut down, their social media accounts locked, and it worked because they were being flagged for free speech and for saying similar types of things that they're complaining about Jimmy Kimmel being canceled for now.
Yes,
and it's the standard. You have to enforce it evenly. But your double standards you can take and you can shove up your ass, because I'm tired of it. Because it's not a my side or your side thing. It's an American thing. It's everybody. Because if this continues to be allowed to continue, then it's just a matter of time till their side gets to silence you again. And it's not okay. If they can say whatever they want on one side, then everybody else on the other side can say whatever they want on that side too. And then if government shouldn't be allowed to dictate, private companies or what's being said, then please fucking explain to me why Elizabeth Warren and company are now trying to investigate Sinclair and Nexstar.
Yeah.
And maybe they're trying to break them up or do whatever because they're trying to punish them for not putting Jimmy Kimmel back on the air. Well, which is it, Elizabeth Warren? Which one is it? Government shouldn't interfere in broadcasting and all that in private companies, or the government should, because you guys can't make up your damn mind. Basically, I'll just tell you what it means. It means when we think you're doing something that we don't like, we have to do something. But if we do it, it's completely fine because it's us.
Yes.
That's not acceptable, Elizabeth Warren.
This is what happens when everybody thinks they're the hero of their own story. They all think they're the good guys. They all think they have the moral high ground. And this is dangerous because what's going to happen is we're going to get, a lot of people caught up in the net depending on who's in power. And it's going to be, rinse and repeat. I would say that the censoring on social media was even more egregious than Jimmy Kimmel because we had private individuals. We're not talking a company that has an FCC license, right? And they have to answer to the FCC. We're talking private individuals who were too much of a problem would get silenced on social media, and everybody was cool with that because I don't like their opinions, so shut them down.
But you have to listen to their opinions, and you don't like their opinions.
Yeah,
that's just tough because free speech.
And that's what they would do. They would actually manipulate the algorithm, and it came out because Elon Musk said, when he bought Twitter, it came out that they would actually deboost conservative voices.
Shadow banning did exist.
Shadow ban, even though they said it didn't. That's like Google. I mean, they're saying, oh yeah, we did ban a bunch of people on YouTube. Whoopsie doopsie. If you want your account back, now that your livelihood has been destroyed, completely destroyed.
But they said it was because they were told that Biden.
They were told to by Biden. Yeah.
So I'm like,
not him. Whoever was actually running the government, who the hell knows who was.
This isn't about picking a side. This is about common sense. This is about being American. Everything should be fair. If Trump administration isn't allowed to censor people and there should be freedom of speech and that you have all these celebrities signing, petitions and everything else, then the Biden administration shouldn't have been allowed to censor people. It should have been freedom of speech. But if you have people out there telling people I question the vaccine, then people aren't going to line up to take it. If you have people out there saying, the election's weird, well, that's, then people might question it. We don't want that. A bunch of voters suddenly disappeared, but
Yeah, as if
it's
by
completely
magic.
On the up and up, but you can't question that, or you're a problem, and you freedom of speech as long as it's what we want to hear.
So this is Charlie Kirk's producer, I think. He works with Turning Point, and he said that wasn't enough. He said, Jimmy, it's simple. Before Colvette wrote, before posting the apology, he said Kimmel should deliver. I'm sorry for saying the shooter was MAGA. He was not. He was on the left. I apologize to the Kirk family for lying. Please accept my sincere apology.
Exactly.
I will do better. I was wrong. And he
That's
didn't.
all he had to do.
He was sorry he got suspended. I think he legitimately is sorry that things escalated to this point. I don't think because he was used to just being able to say whatever the hell he wanted to. But again, like you said, then immediately after he's tearing up and giving this, and whatever, apology, non-apology, whatever.
I do believe he was. I think he was sincerely sorry that it cost him problems.
Yes.
And I do think he was upset about Charlie Kirk because he did put a statement out when Kirk got killed that it was he condemned it immediately and said it wasn't right. So I don't think that he was for celebrating Kirk getting killed. I think he was more like trying to use it as what he accused everybody else of doing, of trying to politicize it to their side, which is exactly what he was doing.
You also have to realize too, and I'm not, absolving him of any blame or whatever, but I'm just saying he has a room full of writers and producers and stuff he has to answer to. And the word was that these people are going to walk if Jimmy didn't say what they wanted them to. If I were him and you don't want to
be like, there's the door.
Yeah, no, exactly. I would be. Because, we know how this happens. A lot of these activists and stuff come into these companies and then they want to dictate what you say or can't say. I would be like, you know what? Let's ride out the rest of my contract. Then I'm going to become a podcaster. I'm going to be in charge of my own show. I'm not going to have to answer to these people. I can say whatever the hell I want. And I'm not on network television, so I probably don't have to answer to the FCC. What I'm concerned about is because of all this shit that's been going down, that the FCC is going to be like, you know what? Yeah, we think streamers and podcasters should also be subject to our rules and regulations too, because of people like Hassan and Destiny. They're out there actually calling for death and wishing harm on people. And it's a joke, bro. I'm like, you couldn't get away with that on network television. So I think there's going to be a bigger clamp down on free speech because of people who have been calling for violence on the left. And then the left is going to be like, told you so. It's Trump trying to take more control.
Yeah, but meanwhile, they're ignoring the fact that maybe the reason that, Trump won again was because a lot of people in the middle or on the right were censored for their free speech was censored. Yeah. And they voted against the left for that reason. They voted against the left for, the 101 different reasons they did. Because they were all surprised that the media was surprised that we told you you didn't listen. Because we told you what you should think and vote for, and you didn't listen to us. Yeah. And it's like they're not listening to you. And Jimmy Kimmel, at the end of the day, his ratings were shit anyway. They were in the shitter. Yeah, he might get a temporary boost, but it's going to go back down to costing the company money. It's all going to go back down to costing the company money. And it is what it is. And I don't understand this because you're you doesn't mean that the company should just keep shelling out, losing money because you're you. And that's what they're going to do. Now they can't get rid of him because they're going to be accused of, censoring Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Trump's already making threats. So it's like, now
that's not helping though.
That's not helping.
Let's be honest here. Trump, that's not helping. That's not helping. That's not helping you prove that that's what happened. Can we just all agree that presidents aren't supposed to be out there telling people to silence critics, whether it be on the left or the right? That's not your place to do that. That's where free speech is under attack. But the people who now care about free speech didn't give two shits about it in the last several years when they knew it was going on.
That is the issue.
They just didn't care. They celebrated it until it came for them.
Yes, that is the issue I'm having, because I'm like, if you don't like Jimmy Kimmel, don't watch Jimmy Kimmel, right? If he's not breaking the law, that's a whole nother issue, right? I don't give a shit. I didn't watch Jimmy Kimmel before. I'm not gonna watch Jimmy. I did watch part of his monologue last night, but I'm not gonna watch Jimmy Kimmel because I don't like the show. I'm sorry, I don't really care. I don't like
late night shows in general. I don't
like late night shows in general.
Unfunny and politically charged.
Yeah, I don't watch that kind of content. Just like people are like, how do you not know this commentator on Fox News? I'm like, because I don't watch Fox News.
No, we don't.
I don't give a shit.
We're really not that political. We only talk about it when it involves pop culture, free speech, that kind of stuff. That's the only time we really, and even if we do have opinions on things like, outside of that, we don't share them. We just talk about it from a stance of, this isn't good because this is a silencing because this is pop culture and there's a double standard and it's hypocrisy.
How is it going to affect normie Americans is pretty much what, I try to look at.
But the normie Americans only getting told what the media wants them to hear, which is a load of shit. The media isn't telling them the rest, which is, yeah, it turns out Biden did the same thing. Because then America's going to be like, oh, this is not okay across the board, because it isn't okay across the board. And I don't think they're going to be able to get away with it again like they did, before, because now people are watching after this situation. But the double standard has to stop. And Hollywood and the media are the biggest catalyst in all of it. And I will stand by that.
Yep. We're going to wrap this up?
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.
For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.